So boys, Ludo here with the Midnight pre-patch PvP tier list. Some of you know I play every single DPS spec in the game and currently hold the record for the most DPS specs above Elite or 2.4 in Arena, which is 20 or 21 now with Devourer, but we're not gonna count that. And you know, I played them at pretty decent level between 2.4 and 2.8. So I think I have a pretty decent knowledge of them and can rate them properly. One thing I want to say before we start, I will keep this one a bit shorter since it's just pre-patch, and once the midnight drops, I'll do a bit longer one. Obviously, the S tier will be strongest going to the weaker specs and from the left to right. Okay? So, let's start. One more thing, all the games I tested are above 2.5 to 2.8, so that's gonna be the range I'm playing at and testing all these things. And you know, some things will be better at low ratings, some things will be better at rank 1 range. And I think everything is playable to 2.1 easily, so tier lists don't really matter. But above 2.1 to rank 1 level, this is the list which I'll try to make perfect. Okay, so let's start with my mains kind of. Marksman Hunter. It's very average. It's very average. Aim shot does good damage. If it crits, arcane shot does as well pretty solid damage. If it crits, rapid fire seems like it's tickling. I don't even feel the damage. So I'm not really happy with the marksman at the moment, especially the gameplay. I think the War Within Season 3 marksmanship gameplay was peak. It was so good, it was so smooth, it was just beautiful. And I think we, instead of completely removing the explosive shot, we should have stayed with the gameplay, but nerfed it, okay? We should have nerfed it, but stayed the gameplay because gameplay was beautiful, smooth, and I'm just sad to see it gone. Now, Fury Warrior. The damage is good. The damage is good. But it's suffering from problems which Warrior always suffers from, which is, you know, getting rooted, slowed, perma-slowed, not being able to reach the target. And once you do, the damage is good, but you won't kill anything because healers are super strong now. And Fury Warrior is a consistent damage dealer. And with consistent damage, you won't kill anything because healers are really strong now. So you only get kills now in big bursts, okay? Which puts the Fury in a weird spot. If you can brawl with someone, you can win it that way, but if you're playing against ranged, and it's very hard to score kill, okay? Because you won't have the high enough uptime to put that to put enough pressure to get a kill. Which Havoc Demon Hunter I think does better because it's you can't escape from Demon Hunter, right? It's too mobile. Even though I think it does less pressure than Fury, it does more because you're always on the target, okay? And it has an extra cheese with the Rain from Above, which does insane damage, by the way. But the higher you go, Rain from Above won't work as well, right? So I think it's just slightly better than the Fury, okay? Now, Ret, guys, I don't know what to say. It's hard ranking this one because it doesn't have what it like. It's worse than last season for sure. If you play the Templar Strikes, it doesn't feel as enjoyable because you have to press it a lot. Otherwise, you'll have dead globals. But if you don't play it, you will have dead globals. So it's in a weird spot where it's more of a consistent damage dealer now instead of a burst with big Templars, right? But it doesn't do enough burst, so, you know, if it was just damage-wise, it would go into B tier for sure, but it's a paladin. The toolkit is still insane. Bubble, Spell Bubble, Freedoms, Searing Glare, you know, it has everything. It has everything. Sanctuary. The toolkit is overloaded, and that's why I have to put it in A tier. It's pulling me down to B tier because the damage is not there, but the toolkit is there. You know, it has the most powerful toolkit. So it's hard to put it below A tier. I would say it's like a low A tier, but you know, I'll keep it here. I think it's better than these guys because of the toolkit. Now, Sub Rogue. It was super bad last season, but this season, it's smoking everything. It's so good, it's so powerful, and it's not that hard, honestly, guys. You have like 2-3 buttons to press, okay? Sub Rogue is one of the classes I didn't reach Elite on, but this season it seems so powerful that, you know, even for me, which, like a Sub Rogue is usually one trick pony spec, but this season I think a lot of people will go into Sub because it's so powerful, and honestly I think it needs to get nerfed. So for me it's an S tier, but for a one trick Sub Rogue I think it's like an S plus tier, okay? We're not gonna do that, but I think it's super strong, and anyone who picks this up will have a good time. Just put some days into it and you will see how strong this is, okay? It's very strong. Now, Unholy DK, I really like the changes. I really like what they've done with it. It's super strong. It's super strong. It has good burst. It has good consistent damage. It has good CC. It has good self-healing. It's just, even after the nerf to self-healing, it's super strong. Now I'm gonna tell you a quick story, which was from Skirmish. It is true, but I played against Unholy DK, which was 2v1 in a skirmish against, what was it, Red Paladin and Holy Priest, I think. It lasted for like 5 minutes, and he couldn't die because self-healing was so strong, it was insane. And he won 2v1 after 5 minutes once the Holy Priest went 2. So Unholy is just good. It did get nerfed, but if it didn't get nerfed, it would be S+. Super solid, super solid. Now Affliction. I love the changes to Affliction, I ain't gonna lie. And I'm kind of torn between B and A tier, to be honest. But if you leave it, if you're not trained, it's so powerful. It's so powerful and it's so scary. I think Affliction might be the hardest or the second hardest caster right now at the moment. And that's why what it's keeping it here. It will feel weaker to the worse you are with Warlock, but the better you are with Affliction or Warlock in general, it will feel stronger, okay? So this one is kind of, you know, in between. So I'll leave it at A tier because I see it's super strong, but it's very hard and it's hard casting a lot of abilities. And, you know, if you're having, it's kind of, sometimes it's soul shard starved, sometimes it's not. Depends what comp you're playing. Depends what's the lobby. It's very lobby dependent. If you're getting trained, it won't feel as good. If you have a caster with you, it will feel way better. So, you know, A tier in my opinion, because it does scare damage if you're good with it. Now, Feral. Feral. I think Feral will be B tier. Does okay damage, nothing crazy, but Druid Toolkit is always good. The clone is always good. The 5-second stuns are always good. I think it got simplified a little bit from the last season, which is also good. So if they buffed damage, I think we could see it in A tier, but I think the damage is not as high to put it in A tier. Now, the toolkit is what it carries it to B tier above these other guys, because clone is super powerful, okay? Super powerful. And honestly, the good ferals always find a way to make it work, always. Assassination Rogue. Last season, it was insane. I think all sub-rogues played Assassination last season because it kind of played more like Assassination. Some of you have seen that I've reached in one day Elite on Assassination because it was so good. Like you could one-tap people. It was so good. But this season, it's so bad. At least to me, it's so bad. Having one cheap shot. I forgot to say for Sub-Rogue, is the only one with the two cheap shots, which makes it amazing. Now losing I don't know, Sub Rogue just feels weak. It doesn't do enough damage, it doesn't do enough control, it doesn't do enough spread damage. Like Sub Rogue should be the burst rogue. Assassination one should be the doing one which does the most damage, and the Outlaw should be the one doing the most control in the game. Sub Rogue does nothing out of it. No burst, no damage, consistent damage, no rot damage, no control. It just needs buff to its damage for like 30%. The damage feels really weak, okay? It feels really weak. And also spreading a rot through Crimson Tempest, I don't like it. I mean, I don't know. I really don't like it, and it might be one of the worst specs currently. Might be one of the worst specs currently. Survival Hunter got simplified a lot from the last expansion, and it's super powerful. It does very good burst, both single target and AoE burst, and you can literally delete the whole enemy team in a good takedown boomstick combo, okay? That's super solid damage. Super solid damage, and very easy to get the trap one with the root into freeze or stun trap. It's just super solid, super solid. Consistent damage, burst damage, it has everything, it has everything. Elemental Shaman. It does okay damage. If we were saying, you know, damage-wise, it could be B tier, but what some of you might not understand is the problem with Elemental Shaman now is your Flame Shock is Voltaic Blaze, right? Which has 9 seconds cooldown, which is kind of bad for spreading your Flame Shock. Now, it does AoE Flame Shock for 20 yards, which is okay, but if you're playing against a good healer, he'll be dispelling it, which means you're fucked. You will be Lava Burst proc starved. At the lower ratings, this could be an easily B tier, but let's say above 2.4, no way, because you'll be getting dispelled on your Flame Shock, and having a cooldown on it is very bad for Shaman. Okay, having a cooldown on it is very bad for Shaman, and I can't see it being above C tier unless there are some changes to that, or lower cooldown, stronger dispel protection. You know, something needs to change with Flame Shock. Okay. Now, the new spec, Devourer, insane. It got nerfed just now, but I just played Shuffle against it at 2.6, and I still got one shot. So I don't know if the nerf wasn't applied. I mean, the nerfs looked significant on the paper, but in the reality, it didn't feel significant, okay? Not big enough nerf. And the second build got buffed. So I'll still say it's S tier. Before that, it was S plus tier. Some people might say, oh yeah, but it's just, you know, if you get CC'd, if you do that, sure. If you get CC'd, but will there be a CC every single time? What if your team gets CC'd? What if your team gets cross CC'd? You get one shot. You're playing with a Sub Rogue. He chip shots the second DPS, he chip shots the kill target, smoke bombs, boom, you one shot. Like, it's impossible to survive. Only if you have a bubble, but you're gonna waste a bubble and next time you're gonna die. Because it's like every 1 minute, one shot burst, right? It's just an insane spec, and it needs still tuning. It's very strong. If you know how to play it, it does no damage outside of burst, that's true, but the burst is so strong, it's an S tier, and no one can change my mind, because it's an S tier at 2.8, because, you know, I've been one shot multiple times at 2.8, and I know how to survive the burst. But it's... I just don't like playing against it. It's just, you know, if you get stunned without Trinket, you're dead. If your healer is stunned as well, you're just dead. You can't do anything about it. So it's not healthy for the game currently, in my opinion. It needs to change. Outlaw. It's the hardest spec in the game, and, you know, losing some of its kit. It did get simplified a little bit, but still, it lost the kit. It can't. It's just worse than Subrogue. What can you say? It's just way worse than Subrogue in every department. Consistent damage, burst, CCing, everything. It's just worse. But I'm gonna say I think it's better than Assassination. Assassination is so bad that even Outlaw is better, guys. Even Outlaw is better, and that says a lot. Okay, that says a lot because you rarely see Outlaw above Assassination. You rarely see that. But a good player will always find a way to make Outlaw work. I'm not the one, but one trick Outlaw will always find a way, and that's why it's C tier. It's not garbage like Assassination, because I don't think anyone will be playing Assassination, honestly. Now, Death Sherlock. One of the specs that got least pruned, least changes in the talent tree, and it was super scary in the last season, and I think it's very similar now, but just slightly less scary. Like I don't feel like Chaos Bolts are doing as much as damage as the last patch, so that's why I'm putting in A tier. It's almost the same like last patch, but just less scary. Okay, still super stanky, still everything is the same, but yeah, less scary in my opinion. Some people might be confused because I think most people think Affliction is worse, but I would rather have Death Sherlock free cast than Affliction in pre-patch. Affliction free casting, putting 5-6 unstable afflictions on you. It's done. It's done. You are done. So I think Affliction is more scary than the Astro, in my opinion. Now, BM. It does super good burst, it does super good consistent damage, and it has 2 buttons. Easiest class in the game. So, what can you say? I mean, I reached rank 19 last season with BM, and it was easy then. But now it's so easy that it's boring. So I'm really not enjoying BM because it feels very boring to me. I really don't like it because it only has literally 2 buttons. I don't like it. I don't like it, but it's strong. It's super strong. And if you want to play on controller, play BM. Okay? Just noticed I've been yapping for too long a bit, so I'll try to be even quicker than this. Red, I think, is actually here. Dev Evoker, very solid damage, very good damage. Especially, the only problem is it's hard to execute a target, but the DPS is super good, super solid. Having 2 deep breaths is insane, very beginner friendly. Even if you get locked out, you're in no problem. Sleepwalk, boom, locked, oh, I can beam. Beam locked, I can sleepwalk. You know, both locked, I can deep breath. So, you know, it's very beginner friendly, and I think, you know, who's starting with the casters should start with this. Very enjoyable to play. I really like this station. Fire Mage. I put it in A tier. It does carry damage in combustion, and the only problem is I don't like the gameplay anymore. I think same for Marksman. I think Fire Mage was peak last season. It was so good. It was the most fun caster ever. It was so good. It was so enjoyable to play. I just loved it, loved it, loved it. And, you know, having a 3-button spec now, I'm really unsatisfied with it. We'll see how it is, but I don't know. I'm not happy with it. Whatever. Windwalker. Windwalker seems decent. Windwalker seems decent. I think it's better than the red. It does solid, consistent, solid burst. Most of it kit is still here, even though I think skill ceiling dropped a little bit with removal of, you know, clash into triple stun, stuff like that, which was super cool to do. But I think it's solid. I think it's solid. I think it's like a little better version of Demon Hunter, especially now since you have, you know, instead of slicing winds, you can Flying Serpent kick. 3 rolls. After you roll, you can dash with the talent from the left tree. Very mobile, way more mobile than the last patch. Okay, so I think it's very solid, but nowhere near these guys. Okay. Augmentation. Augmentation is hard to rate. Since this is the class I never actually played above 2k, but I've played against multiple rank 1 augmentations at higher ratings, which do crazy damage, but I haven't seen it this season, okay? I haven't seen it in pre-patch. So I'll put it in C tier because I know good augmentations always find a way to make some juicy one-shots. So I'll leave it here. Arcane Mage. Arcane Mage does super good damage, but I'll put it here because it has one skull cast. If you get locked on your Arcane, you're kind of dead, you know? Against, I don't know, you're playing against BAM, something crazy, which shreds mages. So, honestly, you know, this could be interchangeable, but I think Arcane Mage is way harder. You know, sharing the spot with for the hardest caster probably with Affliction. So, Fire Mage is easier for sure, and that's why I think it's better to put it here. Okay, Arcane Mage is super strong though. Boomy, 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 Boomy. Boomy is one of the, I mean, probably the only one that didn't get pruned at all, almost. Actually, it gained a button. And I think it's very solid. It's tanky, it does consistent damage, it does very good burst in Inikarn. And, you know, beam into clone, into burst, very scary, right? So Boomy is very, very solid. Now, Enhancement Shaman. I love Enhancement Shaman, and it's one of my favorite melee specs. Honestly, I think it's pretty damn solid. Well, let's put it here. Let's put it here. It's very good and solid, and I think its kit got simplified in the best way possible, where you don't have to click 5 buttons anymore to start your burst. You can instantly go in burst and boom, 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 one-shot something, which won't work at a higher rating, but if you remove enough of defenses from the enemies in your second Ascendance, you can get easily a kill. I think it's very solid. I think it's very solid, even in Ascendance and out with Ascendance, if you know what you're doing, okay? Frost DK. Actually, I think that's the class with least pruning. It's pretty much the same as the last season, because it got reworked last season, right? So very, very, very similar to last season, and okay, it's okay. Average, but nowhere close to power of the Unholy DK, in my opinion. It doesn't have Mortal Strike, so, you know, it's suffering from that. Demolock. Demolock feels so good to play. Feels so good to play. Really like it. Affliction feels so good to play as well. I mean, I really like the changes they made with Warlocks. All of Warlock specs are A tier, in my opinion. Demolock could be S tier, maybe. But, you know, it's a Warlock spec in the end. It's a Warlock spec in the end, which means you will be trained. So, you know, playing these guys will be way easier. Even though I think Demolock is the easiest Warlock spec. And especially now with having instant dogs, having, you know, having 2-3 less buttons, it could be S tier, but I'm gonna leave it as a high A tier, okay? It's very strong. It's very strong. It's enjoyable to play. Fun. Very nice. Arms. Arms is kind of shitty. It's like a Fury, but worse. You know, you can't reach targets, but if you do, you don't do enough damage to do anything about it. Like, you don't do enough damage at all. Let's say you reach Marksman. Nah, Marksman is kind of shitty. Let's say you reach you know, Deathstroke. Deathstroke can stand whole game in you, and he'll out DPS you. Even if he doesn't move, he'll do more damage than you, because Arms does no damage. And even worse example I'll give you now. Like, you're playing against Sub-Rogue. You should be destroying Sub-Rogue as an Arms. In reality, I mean, it makes sense. Arms should destroy Sub-Rogue, but in the pre-patch, Sub-Rogue will out DPS Arms Warrior even if you melee him. Even if he's like killing you with the daggers and you're smashing him with your big axe, he's gonna out damage you. And he has burst, one shot, smoke bomb, vanish, evasion, everything, right? And you have nothing. Blind, he can CC the healer, you can do anything. So Arms is pretty shitty, guys. Arms is pretty shitty, it needs the buff to do the damage, and Fury does too, in my opinion. Now, Frost Mage, very solid as well, I think. I think all the mages and warlocks are A tier, guys. I think it's the worst out of these because I think it does the least damage and it has to hardcast a lot. Which puts it here, in my opinion. Maybe even here. Okay? But I think they're all A tier. Now, Shadow Priest. Shadow Priest does solid damage. It does solid damage. But I think losing stun into fear or silence and having no life swap was the biggest thing that was, you know, differing it from Warlock. It just feels like a worse affliction to me. That's how it feels to me. The burst is great, but out of that, you know, it just feels like a worse affliction, in my opinion. Not having that stun and life swap, I'm not happy with the Shadow Priest changes. Like, I loved how it plays, but I just want to have stun and life swap back. You know? I'm kind of bummed out about the ESP changes. Even though it's okay, you know? It's still doing solid damage, it's still... It can pump, but I miss the utility. I think the utility was, you know, what it was putting it above Warlock. Okay, let's do the healers. I haven't played personally, but I've played against many. So I'm gonna tell you how it felt to me playing against them or playing with them. I think Mistweaver is the best healer in the pre-patch by far, not even close. It's pretty much immortal. Having one minute bubble, which is almost unbreakable, is crazy. It's just crazy. Suiting Mist heals a lot. Like, everything is way overtuned with the Mistweaver. The only way to win against him is to kill him in a stun. It was usually, but now it's not even that, because even if Sub-Rogue is to one-shot him, if he's good enough, he'll just port back behind the pillar with his port, if he puts it there, and survive. So, you know, the only way to kill him is to one-shot him with like a Sub-Rogue or Devourer, but if he's good, it won't happen, okay? So I think it's by far the best one. Holy Priest. Usually my favorite healer, and I think the best beginner-friendly healer, because for me it was. It's like a real pure healer. That's the best way to describe it. Pure healer, like. And I just don't like that they removed the Holy Word Life or whatever it's called. You know, the big heal when someone is low HP. I'm kind of missing that. It's kind of missing. The bars kind of feel empty, in my opinion. And it's very average, very average. You know, I can't put it lower, I can't put it higher, it's just very average. The only one thing I want to say that's good is Chastise Smite. It feels very solid, but other than that, the healing, it just doesn't feel as good. Okay? Resto Druid. I really like Resto Druid. Resto Druid feels very good, very good. Resto Druid feels very good, but it's a hard healer, okay? Resto Druid is a hard healer. And, you know, you could put it in S tier if you're a god, Resto Druid. If you're bad Resto Druid, you can put it in B tier. But, you know, it could be any of those. That's why I'm putting it A tier. It's very strong, but it depends on the skill of the player. Okay? Press Evoker got nerfed in a way that it does, like, this was the most offensive healer. Okay? This was the most offensive healer, but it does no damage now. It does very low damage. And compare what it was, and the healing is not the greatest, the cooldowns are not the greatest, and it's a very hard healer to play. So combination of all of that puts it in C tier. Okay? If it was easier, maybe it would be, but it's not. It's very hard, so it's a C tier for sure. Okay? Now, saying that, we have an easiest healer in the game, or, you know, maybe Holy Priest is easy to me. Like, Holy Priest to me was easier. but I would say Holy Paladin in general is the easiest, and people would agree, I think, most of us. And because of that, I would put it above Resto Druid, even though I think Resto Druid is better if you are very skilled with it. But having instant cast, having so many cooldowns to rotate, bubble, spell bubble, like it has the same toolkit like Red Paladin. It has an insane toolkit. And that's why I think it's definitely high A tier. Okay? You could switch these two around, depending on skill. Disc. Disc is very solid. I would say it's worse than these two guys, but better than Holy Priest. Okay? Kind of missed the life swap on Disc Priest. I think maybe they should have kept it just for Disc Priest, maybe. Cut it for a Holy and leave it for Disc. But I think it's good. It's above average, okay? It's above average, but I think these two are a bit, like, I would say these are high as A tier, and this is just A tier, okay? Okay, our last healer, Resto Shaman. The best healer last season, almost best healer, but this season I think it's the worst. I think it's the worst healer by far, and not even close, at least from what I've seen. I didn't play it, but my friend played and he really didn't like it, and from all the shuffles I played, Resto Shamans perform by far the worst. Like, it doesn't feel like it has any big cooldowns. There were many shuffles where you would just zag him down. Like, there's Unholy DK and I don't know, whatever. Unholy, let's say Fury Unholy or Survival Unholy, which is super popular, and he just dies. You just go heal and kill him. Like, he can't do anything. He's gonna die in 10 seconds. You know, too much of toolkit got removed. It feels weak. Maybe some people will disagree, but from what I've seen, by far the worst performing healer. I've never seen any healer go 0-6 as many times as Resto Shaman. 100% sure about this. Is the worst. Maybe some people have some cheese to pull it off, but I haven't seen any yet personally. Okay, let's rate tanks as well. This is for arena, so they'll be lower rated, but I'll rate them because I played them all and I played them against many. So Prot Warrior is playable to elite level. It's playable because it has a very solid execute range. It's very oppressive against casters because of the shout, which locks you for like every shout, which locks you for like 6 seconds. It's crazy, very oppressive, and you can barely move against it with, you know, roots, slows. It's very oppressive against casters. It's solid into melee cleaves as well. It's a solid tank. Now Blood DK is the best pure tank because of damage is very good. As well, it has very good CC, and I think it will always be the best tank if you don't count this, which we can't call a tank really. So I think it will always be the best tank in arena, and then Prot Warrior. Now, Brewmaster is very solid as well, very solid, but to me it's kind of awkward to play. It has a good kit, but it's awkward kit. So I think these two are better. Like, I would say high F tier, mid F tier, low F tier, okay? Now we come to Prot Paladin, which is, in my opinion, C tier. It's just super annoying to play against. Having two Valkyries, or how are they called? Forgotten Queens, whatever. It's just annoying to play against. Last season I was playing against Prot Paladin rank 1. He was the first on the ladder at 2.850. The games were miserable. All the games lasted for 5 minutes. Shuffle game lasting for 5 minutes every round. So 6 rounds for 5 minutes. It's very miserable to play against, and it's very strong if you know what you're doing. Insane CC, insane toolkit, even better than it even has better toolkit than the Holy Paladin. Okay, so it's very strong. It's very strong. Now Guardian Druid is almost unplayable. It does 0/0/0 damage. but the point of it, you have a clone. So if you're good at cloning, you know when to clone. It's playable, but you know, only a few people can do it. Now, Vengeance Demon Hunter, in my opinion, is the worst tank in the game. The damage is better than the Guardian Druid, true, so we could put it here, but Guardian Druid takes the edge because if you're good with cloning and know when to clone, it will be better than the Vengeance Demon Hunter, okay? Very hard to score kill with the Vengeance Demon Hunter, very reliable on the team, so I think that's why it's the worst one. Okay guys, this is the list. I won't change a thing, honestly. I think it's pretty damn accurate based on my experience. If you agree, enjoy the list, drop the like. If you disagree, let me know why down in the comments, and we can discuss it. Obviously, everyone will have their own opinion, but to me, this is perfect. This is how I would leave it. And once again, guys, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.